असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय।
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 सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। शान्ति शान्तिः। Good evening. అందరూ క్షేమమేనా? బాగున్నారు అందరూ? వెరీ గుడ్. మాయా ప్రపంచం నాట్ ఈజీ. సో సర్వే భవంతు సుఖినః. But our philosophers have come to the conclusion that as long as you have a physical structure like this and a psychological structure like this, it is difficult to enjoy real peace and happiness. So they have exhorted us to transcend the relative to get the absolute. The absolute is God. So they said that only one conclusion, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would say. So there is, human life has only one purpose, that is to search for God. Nothing else. No other objective. So of course it is difficult to set that goal. So we'll have so many other goals and objectives, we'll try to fulfill them. We'll expect happiness there, but we don't get it, we get disappointed. Again we'll have another objective, another goal, and we'll try for it. It will go on, birth after birth. But there will come a day in your life, in our lives, where you will be compelled and forced to think, why this universe? What is the objective of this life? Who has created it? If God had done it, why did he do that the way he had done? These questions. then you will become a philosopher, you will become a Buddha afterwards. Immediately when you put the question, you don't get it answer also. So today I have taken the topic population for today's prayer meeting. A few days back I read in newspapers that world population has crossed 8 billion. ప్రపంచ జనాభా 800 కోట్లు దాటింది. So, you know, in the mid 80s, when I was a kid, in school going kid, we used to read on ration cards, in Telugu is a statement, చిన్న కుటుంబం చింతలేని కుటుంబం, పంటలు ఎక్కువైనా ఈ పరిమితులు ఎందుకు, సంతాన పరిమితి లేనందుకు. Government would try to, educate people, generate awareness among people, stressing the importance of having a small family. Mid 80s it was, long back. And also statements like, the beautiful statement is there, ఒక్కరు ముద్దు ఇద్దరు హద్దు అంతకు మించి వద్దు. And just to help people, only just to have 2 children, ఒక్కరు ముద్దు ఇద్దరు హద్దు అంతకు మించి వద్దు. Afterwards, all such statements, they disappeared from even ration cards. Way back in 70s, Sanjay Gandhi had tried, of course he had tried crude methods, that's why they couldn't succeed. He thought actually India has only one problem, that is the population. So we must restrict our numbers. That is the only way. Because the globe, it doesn't have resources. Only human beings can consciously restrict their numbers. If we don't do that, the nature will do it, but in a crude way. If we don't do it consciously. So just look at the world today, 8 billion population. Europe actually is a prosperous region. They are also struggling now. There is a recession, there is joblessness, there is energy crisis. So we need to understand that if you really want to preserve some resources for the future generations, we need to act consciously now. Not everybody need to beget 2 children beautifully, not necessary. Just to experience parenthood, fatherhood or motherhood, 1 child is sufficient. And also, if you really want to grow intellectually and spiritually, if you want to have some time for yourself, right, to read books, to cultivate intellect, to grow in knowledge, right, what we need is leisure. To raise 2 children and, to establish a family and to raise 2 children, to support a family of 2 children is not an easy thing, particularly in this age when you are living in urban areas. But also we need to understand it's very difficult to curtail human ambition, human aspirations. మనిషి పుట్టిన తర్వాత నువ్వు కోరికలు తగ్గించుకొని చెప్పడం చాలా కష్టమవుతుంది. My neighbor has what my neighbor has, I also long for that. Okay? My neighbor has a car and I have only 2-wheeler. So if somebody says that you confine yourselves to 2-wheeler, is it possible? My natural ambition would be I would like to live like my neighbor. And he has got car and I have only 2-wheeler and you are asking me only to confine myself to 2-wheeler. How that would be possible? So you cannot really preach contentment to people. మనుషులకి సంతృప్తి గురించి చెప్పడం చాలా కష్టమవుతుంది. మన దగ్గర సంతృప్తి లేదు, నంబరు కంట్రోల్ అవ్వట్లేదు, అప్పుడు రిసోర్సెస్ ఏం మిగులుతాయి మరి భవిష్యత్ తరాల వారికి? రైట్? We don't want to control our desires. We don't want to put a cap on our desires. Everybody wants to have more and more. Right? Then, and we don't want to even restrict our numbers. Problem is, in a democratic country, though it is required in the interest of the nation to make policies, the government, it won't do. The problem is, we all know that in a democratic setup, government won't be doing anything that will displease the people. ఇప్పుడు నన్ను ఓన్లీ 2 పిల్లలకి రెస్ట్రిక్ట్ అవ్వని ఒక లా చేసింది అనుకోండి గవర్నమెంట్, ఐ ఫీల్ ఐ హ్యావ్ లాస్ట్ మై ఫ్రీడమ్. రైట్? నాకు గవర్నమెంట్ మీద కోపం వస్తే నేను ఓటేయను పార్టీకి. రైట్? హియరింగ్ దాట్ ఇన్ ఏ డెమోక్రటిక్ గవర్నెన్స్, పొలిటికల్ పార్టీస్ విల్ నాట్ కమ్ ఫార్వర్డ్ టు మేక్ సచ్ పాలసీస్, దో పాలసీస్ నీడెడ్ ఇన్ ద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద నేషన్. మనందరికీ తెలుసు ఈ రోజుల్లో మన రాజకీయ పార్టీలు నేషనల్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ దే సాక్రిఫైస్ ఫర్ ద సేక్ ఆఫ్ పార్టీస్ ఇంట్రెస్ట్, for the sake of their narrow, petty political interest. జాతీయ ఇంట్రెస్ట్ దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకుని పాలసీ చేద్దామంటే ఇక్కడ రాజకీయంగా దెబ్బతింటాం. So because of that fear, they will not make policies that are actually really needed in the interest of the nation. That is their problem. So because people in a democracy, you just put me to some inconvenience, I will not vote for your party. Immediately opposition will jump into the bandwagon and they say that no, you have been put to discomfort, right? We will remove this policy. మేము అధికారంలోకి వస్తే మిమ్మల్ని ఇబ్బంది పెడుతుంది కదా ఈ పాలసీ, దీన్ని తీసేస్తుంటాం. But while the government has enacted the policy in the interest of the nation, though temporarily we have to face some difficulty, we have to, endure some inconvenience, definitely. మన ఫ్రీడమ్కి అక్కడ స్వేచ్ఛకు రెస్ట్రిక్షన్ పెడుతుంది గవర్నమెంట్, అది కొంచెం మనకి ఇబ్బందిగా ఉంటుంది ఆ టైంలో. బట్ ఇట్స్ వర్త్ ఎండ్యూరింగ్ దట్ పెయిన్. ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ వాంట్ టు ఎండ్యూర్ దట్ పెయిన్ ఇన్ ద ఫ్యూచర్, ఇట్ విల్ బీ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డిజాస్టర్. గవర్నమెంట్ చేతులు తెస్తుంది. నౌ టుడే వీ ఆల్ హ్యావ్ ద ఆస్పిరేషన్, రైట్? గవర్నమెంట్ హ్యాస్ టు ప్రొవైడ్ మీ ఎ జాబ్ విత్, రైట్? మనకుంది కోరిక, అది లేవు అక్కడ. గవర్నమెంట్ చేయగలుగుతుందా? రైట్? మనకు ఉందా లేదా? ఆస్పిరేషన్ ఉంది. వై గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు ప్రొవైడ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ టు ఆల్ ఆఫ్ us? మరి యూ ఆర్ ఆస్కింగ్, బట్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఈజ్ నాట్ కేపబుల్ ఆఫ్, బికాస్ ద నంబర్స్ ఆర్ సో హ్యూజ్ and opportunities and resources is only limited, that much only. So that's why actually you cannot really demand of them, because వాళ్ళకి లేదు. So it's always important that you act as a responsible citizen of the country, that we have to do it on our own. Don't expect government will make a law, government will make a policy, because they don't. Because that will put us to some kind of discomfort and inconvenience, because no government that is there in a democratic setup actually can afford to displease people like that and yet survive politically. That's why it is individuals, people who have to act consciously. ఒక దేశ బాధ్యత గల దేశ పౌరుడిగా నా బాధ్యత ఏంటి? Yes, I will go for a small family. Okay, that's our duty. Then you will have time left, some time you will have left with that you can cultivate the intellect, you can actually grow spiritually, you will have time for meditation, time for contemplation, time for reading good books, time for prayer. Your quality of life will improve if the family is a small family. So చిన్న కుటుంబం, చింతలేని కుటుంబం. Okay, let us welcome a small family. Let us have as small a family as possible. That's my personal opinion. It's up to you. As being a sannyasi, that I would only advocate for only one child. Okay, that's up to you. Thank you. Nice evening.